Hey there, welcome to the Uplift. We got a great show for you today. Great cast of characters as well. An Air Force pilot helping to pave the way for other expectant mothers. Think about that. Also, two larger-than-life therapy dogs. The only thing bigger, you might say, the joy they bring to patients. Also, a mom desperate to help her son make friends. When she reached out for support, what she got in return shocked her. Also, a survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing reflecting on the day that changed her life and the perseverance she found after. All that, plus our heartwarming videos, the ones you just need to see. You know what you're watching, The Uplift. Hey there, I'm Tony DeCopel, and this is The Uplift, the show that lifts you up for at least the next 30 minutes, you and me as well. And we are going to begin with the story about being in the right place at the right time and saving a life in the process. Here's Steve Hartman.
Not many people get to return to the scene of their death. But as we first reported last summer, John Scully of Rochester, New York, stepped back into the gym where his time expired.
That's the last thing I saw right there, 246.
Do you recognize this at all?
John is a basketball referee.
They cut it, right? It's my jersey.
Back in June, John was officiating a semi-pro game between the Jamestown Jackals and Toledo Glass City. That's him on the near side, seconds before his heart attack. The deadliest kind of heart attack, called a widowmaker. Doctors told John's fiancée, Donna, almost no one survives it.
Yeah, 1% of the population, and he's that 1%.
I was in the right place at the right time. I mean, that's why I'm here.
Within seconds, a Toledo player named Miles Copeland rushed to his side and started doing CPR.
I've never witnessed someone just collapse, but I knew what had to be done.
Turns out the Toledo forward is also a Toledo firefighter, a brand new one. At the time, just a year out of the academy.
What does that feel like when all is said and done and you've saved a life?
It's honestly one of the best feelings in the world.
Few moments will ever come close, except maybe,
oh my God,
this one. We invited Miles to stop by the gym. It was their first meeting.
I love you, man. You know I love you.
After quadruple bypass surgery, John said he was feeling much better and hoped to get back on the court someday. Well, it's been 8 months since we first told this story, and number 110 is back in business. He has reffed almost 50 games so far this season and appears none the worse for wear. All thanks to Miles Copeland,
Love you too, man.
who made the ultimate Cinderella story come true.
I'm so grateful for you.
Nothing better than a Steve Hartman story, but we're going to move on for now and introduce you to a U.S. Air Force pilot who is helping to pave the way for other expectant mothers. Nora O'Donnell has this story.
B-1 bombers are some of the fastest planes in the U.S. Air Force.
It's a really, really fun airplane to fly.
For Majors Lauren and Mark Olney, they also gave liftoff to their love story.
Where did you two meet?
We met at the United States Air Force Academy. The rest is history.
These pilots are now expecting. Mom is among the first pregnant pilots to fly an ejection seat plane in the Air Force.
So you have flown supersonic pregnant, is that right?
Yes. Looked over and I saw Mark in the other aircraft and knew that flying with my husband in the other aircraft and carrying hopefully the next generation bomber pilot while flying supersonic was quite the memory.
Until last year, the Air Force made it nearly impossible for pregnant women to keep flying.
Mark, what did you think of the policy change?
Now, the Air Force, who has spent a lot of time and resources to develop these professional pilots who are female, they can continue to contribute in the ways that they want to.
It keeps us doing what we're passionate about for as long as we possibly can. It gives us the choice to continue to fly. So we're doing our primary jobs even while pregnant.
Well, as a mother of 3, I have to say a onesie is a lot like a flight suit.
We do have a lot of Air Force onesies in the nursery.
Gotta say, Nora Donald is 100% right. A onesie is a lot like a flight suit. It zips up from the foot all the way to the neck. All right, coming up, meet these two therapy animals. Take a look at them, who form connections with sick patients despite their surprisingly large presence. The dogs, that is. Plus, our heartwarming videos, the ones you just need to see. That's a bald eagle. Stick around. Oh, welcome back to the Uplift. Time now for our heartwarming videos, the ones you just need to see. And we are going to begin with a wild bird sanctuary in Missouri. An eagle there named Murphy apparently wanted to become a dad because the staff found him incubating, that's dadding, I think, a rock. He thought it was an egg. Murphy was very territorial about this rock, protected it with his beak and life. And so when an actual baby eaglet, that's what they're called, came to the sanctuary, well, the staff decided to put it together with Murphy. And soon enough, Murphy started putting his parenting instincts to work, taking care of the real-life baby bird and feeding it worms, which are delicious to birds. Now, Murphy does not have to pretend to be a dad. He's getting to be a real dad with a real eaglet, and we wish him the best. That's a sweet story. All right, our next video shows 6-year-old Matea playing t-ball and adding her own personal flair to the game. Take a look.
Go, Mommy, go! Again.
I love
go,
that.
Go, Mommy, go!
Let's see it again. It's a borderline taunt, but such grace to it that I'm going to go and allow it. That's beautiful. Well done.
Go, Mommy,
all right.
Go.
We'll watch it one more time. No, you have to look it up for yourself. All right, we're going to introduce you now to two comfort animals. I could watch it all day. Two comfort animals that may seem incredibly large at first, but the joy they've brought to hospital patients is even bigger. Here's CBS Minnesota's John Lawrenson.
If a nurse isn't aware of us coming in, doesn't know that the dogs, they're that big, they've been scared.
When Wayne Kamelik brings Hulu and Tootsie to the hospital, they have to avoid narrow spaces. But despite their size, the Great Danes are about as friendly as they come.
They are, unless you were a squirrel. Yes, they are just the most gentle animals that I've ever raised.
Hulu weighs 170 pounds, Tootsie weighs 166. In fact, both dogs tower over miniature horses that are in the local Therapy Animal Association.
This is very unique, and to have a brother-sister team is very cool.
A while back, Hulu made friends with 3-year-old Nellie Kubski.
He remembers you. Why did you come to the hospital? Do you remember?
Because my tummy hurt.
Nellie had appendicitis and was in a lot of pain. But just before her surgery, the biggest and friendliest dog she had ever seen paid her a visit.
Did he help you feel better?
Yeah.
For a little bit?
Yeah, he was just cheering me up.
Before they became therapy dogs, Hulu and Tootsie were show dogs, winning awards with Wayne and his wife, Patricia. Sadly, she was diagnosed with dementia a few years ago and now lives in a memory care facility. But several times a week, the gentle giants pay Mom a visit.
Does it help her too?
Yes, definitely. Not only help her just individually, but she has more rapport with other staff and people in the residency.
Great Danes who are pretty great. And it doesn't matter if you're an older patient or someone 7 times smaller than they are. Hulu and Tootsie are always looking to make a friend.
Pretty nice line there, John. Great Danes, they are indeed pretty great. Love that story. All right, coming up, a mom who wanted to help her son find friends and the shocking response she received from total and complete strangers. Plus, a woman who survived the Boston Marathon bombing writes a note to her younger self about the day that would change her life and how she persevered. When her son with Down syndrome started becoming depressed, a mom from Missouri reached out for help. And what she got in return, well, it shocked her. Here's Caitlin O'Kane.
24-year-old Christian Bowers had many friends in high school, but he graduated 5 years ago. And ever since, it's been hard to find good friends.
He was starting to show some signs of depression and just constantly asking, where his friends are, why doesn't anybody want to come over and spend time with him. we would go to Walmart or the store, and he would like invite half the store to come home with us and play video games with us. And of course, nobody would. And, he just doesn't understand why.
His mom, Donna Herder, didn't know where to turn, so she posted on Facebook.
I just basically said that I was looking for a young man between the ages of 20 and 28, local. I told him that I'd pay him $80 for 2 hours to basically just hang out and play video games with him. That's all he really wants, is just a guy friend to do guy stuff with.
Herder is a nurse working the overnight shift. She sent the post at 4 a.m., and when she woke up the next day, it had about 5,000 comments.
I was freaking out. My hands were shaking. I was sweating. I was just looking for some local guys. I didn't want to invite the entire world into our house, and was going to delete it. But then when I was talking to one of my friends, she was like, well, Donna, wait, you can't delete it. Go through and read the comments.
When she looked at the replies, she saw parents offering suggestions, others volunteering to help, and parents of children with special needs asking for advice themselves.
If their kids are like Christian craves a friendship with somebody who's neurotypical. He doesn't want to only hang out with somebody with special needs. And I've never asked him, but I assume it's because it kind of makes him feel normal just for an hour or two, Hey, somebody who doesn't have Down syndrome wants to hang out with me.
After interviewing a few local guys in Minnesota, Donna narrowed it down to 7, who now visit Christian once a week on a rotating schedule.
He, every night, goes to bed with a smile on his face. He tells everybody about his new friends. He gets so excited talking about life now and everything he's doing. But I still think the one thing he loves the most is that one-on-one, just that guy coming over. Yesterday was his day for someone to come over, so a guy came over and they played video games, and that is honestly what he loves the most out of everything.
Donna hopes their story inspires others to form friendships, because you never know how much it means to someone.
Everybody needs a friend. I thought about it one day. I just sat there and I was like, what if I had 0 friends? What if I had literally not one single person to call, to talk to hang out, to have lunch with? And man, it just really hit me thinking about that, how lonely that would be, knowing that there's so many people out there that are wanting that relationship or wanting a friend. I really hope that people reach out in their community and, find out where those people are, how to get a hold of them, how to hang out with them.
It's a great story. All right, beaches all around the world, in fact, are in danger from erosion. But there's one organization out there working to save the sand and also the sea creatures. Lee Cohen has more.
Coastal towns around the world are under threat as erosion and diminishing reefs shrink their beaches. And while it can take hundreds or even thousands of years for coral to develop a reef system, there is a project working to do it much quicker. Ocean Shot Project, spearheaded by climate scientist Dr. Deborah Brosnan, is currently working to restore coral reefs in Antigua and Barbuda.
What we're trying to do is recognize first that we lose more coral reefs in a day than we can restore in a decade, and that our progress towards protecting coral reefs that ultimately protect us is too slow. So Ocean Shot is about literally rebuilding the reefs, the architecture of the reefs for the future, repopulating them with corals, and then allowing other species to move back in. So it's almost like gardening. We have to make sure we weed them and check on how they're doing.
Her team isn't just building the reefs. They're also growing what she calls resilient corals that can withstand some of the impacts of climate change.
A living reef that's close to the surface breaks about 95% of a wave's energy. So when the wave comes in, it hits the reef, the energy is broken, and you get calm waters inside the reef. Create more resilient communities and create more resilient coastlines against sea level rise and against climate change.
Saving the reefs isn't just about protecting the planet, but about saving humanity, Dr. Brosnan said.
Our planet is at stake. If we don't have coral reefs, we lose 25% of marine life. And we lose all of the services marine life provides to us. We lose the coastal protection that we depend on. And we lose all of the knock-on effects that we don't even know about yet.
It's only been about 6 months since they planted that first set in the waters of Barbuda, but it's already shown significant success. and Brosnan is hoping to scale Ocean Shot across the world.
We now have 9 different species, over 300 corals growing on the new modules. And we've been monitoring them using AI technology cameras to be able to detect what's there and how the health of these corals are progressing. We've got 97 to 98% survival of the corals that we've transplanted. And we now have 26 new species that have moved in by themselves onto these reef modules. Everything from parrotfish to commercial fish to commercial lobster. And then we've put some sea urchins on there as well to keep the algae down.
A new reef off the island's coast, giving hope for what the rest of the world can look like once again.
Wow, looks like paradise. All right, coming up, a story of perseverance. It is time for it. A survivor of the Boston Marathon bombing 10 years ago, it's been that long, reflects on the day that changed her life. 10 years ago, a bombing at the Boston Marathon killed 3 people and injured hundreds others. Rebecca Gregory and her 5-year-old son Noah were among those there. They survived, but Gregory lost her left leg. Here she is with a note to her younger self about that day, a day that, of course, changed her life.
Dear 10-year-old Rebecca, right now, you are sitting on the school sidewalk with a suitcase beside you, waiting for your dad to pick you up. You feel embarrassed and abandoned because he didn't show up again. His abuse is not your fault, and I wish I could take away your pain, but I can't. What you will learn many years from now is that the hurt you feel will fade away, but the impact from it will become your legacy. For now, call your mom, and she'll be there. She always will be, and for many years to come. While you wait, why not make your sisters laugh like you're good at? You're going to need that humor later on when you don't have a leg to stand on. I can't promise it's going to be easy, Rebecca. Some challenges you will bring on yourself, and others you will have zero control over. Before you know it, you will be a mom at just 20 years old. You will have no clue what you're doing, but your son Noah will give you a purpose that you've never experienced before. You will grow up together, and he will teach you, make you a better person, and save you time and time again. By your mid-20s, you will feel stability and happiness. You and Noah will have a beautiful home in Texas, your career will be thriving, and for your 26th birthday, you will travel to Boston to attend the marathon with a guy you've been seeing who you will later marry. That day in 2013 will change the trajectory of your entire life.
There's been a terrorist attack in Boston. 2 bombs were placed in the crowds.
The 2 explosions killed at least 3 people, at least 144 were wounded.
When Noah is sitting down on your feet, a bomb will explode less than 3 feet behind you. And your body will shield him from the shrapnel. It's a lot to take in, I know. And as you navigate through the ups and downs of your recovery, it will be a lot. You'll undergo 76 operations. You'll lose your left leg below the knee. You'll lose your grandparents, your fairy tale marriage after tragedy, any sense of normalcy. But what you will gain will be indescribable. You will learn to adapt to a new normal and do things you never knew you were capable of. Like running in the Boston Marathon on a prosthetic leg.
This was the hardest thing that I think I've ever had to do, and when I crossed the finish line, I took my life back today.
And confronting the remaining bomber in federal court. You will look him in the eyes and tell him that you are not his victim. And you will promise that you will use your time left to make the world a better place. When you least expect it, you will reconnect with and marry your college sweetheart, and he will be your best friend. Together, you will fulfill the promise you made in court by starting a charity called Rebecca's Angels, where you will fund trauma therapy for nearly 500 families in the first 5 years.
R-Y-L-E-I-G-H spells Riley.
You will have a miracle baby named Riley, a little girl that no one thought you'd have with all your injuries from Boston. Despite her early entrance into the world and her stint in the NICU, she will be perfect. She is a fighter, just like her mom. Every day when you wake up, you will reach for a prosthetic leg or a wheelchair, but you will remain so thankful. You will have a deeper understanding that life is fleeting, and you will soak up every single moment, grateful to be alive with the family you fought hard for. Your children are so very loved, Rebecca. Riley is the daddy's girl that you always wanted to be. You love being their mom. With the wisdom that you have gained, you will travel the world sharing your story and write that book you were dreaming about. You'll realize every twist and turn is necessary to get you to where you are, and sometimes the most broken parts of life lead us to the most beautiful chapters. Now do you see why I can't scoop you off that sidewalk? All that pain is part of the recipe for the good stuff. And as long as you wake up with that beat in your chest and air in your lungs, you have so much purpose. So do your best to keep surviving right now so that you can fully live later. Soon, every broken piece of you will heal, and you will take your life back because you are a survivor, and no one can ever take that away from you. Love always, your older, wiser self.
Nicely done. And you, Miss Gregory, get our final word today. That is our show. I hope it brightened your day. I hope it lifted you up. I'm confident it did. If it didn't for some reason, reruns are free, and I'm going to go find some more good news.